Greetings, friends. Hello, hello, hello. Presence and potential. Whether you're leading a family, office, neighborhood, corporation, or congregation, this book provides a practical approach to the most common humanity dynamics. Chapter 6. Accept differences between people. In the circles I run in and in the classes I facilitate and present for organizations, companies, businesses, neighborhoods, families, couples, and ministries, people in the room often state, "We're like minded. We think alike." I can't hear it anymore without laughing. It's simply not true. Sometimes we think alike. Sometimes we're like minded. And sometimes we're not like minded. And sometimes we don't think alike. The unwillingness and the denial to accept and acknowledge this, that we actually have differences, is delusional. It's delusional and problematic because when our natural differences arise, we become opposed to them, or affronted by them, or offended by them, or afraid of them. We begin judging, attacking, demanding that we all be the same. And our pattern may be to shut down, get quiet, cut off, freak out. Until we accept differences in ourselves, even in the people closest to us, those we work with, live with, associate with, attend churches and synagogues with, people living in the same community as us or doing the same jobs as us, until we accept differences in ourselves, we will continue to judge and to go into some kind of attack mode, either to confront or shut down and use silence as violence. Until we learn to accept our differences, we are subject to and hostage to those differences. Let me give you some examples. I love crab legs. I love them so much that I used to often say that if you ever know it's my last meal, make sure I get some crab legs. The family I was raised in feels very different. Not only do they not eat crab legs, they do not want a crab leg on the table where they're eating. And they don't want to be at a table with me while I'm eating crab legs because the smell is so offensive to some of them. So, where does that leave me if I'm eating with my family and they feel so strongly about crab legs and I want to eat crab legs? It's up to me to accept the difference in us and then measure if I'm going to push or force or demand my way. Do I want crab legs no matter what their reactions are going to be? And what does that cause in me and in the atmosphere? Or do I want to lean more toward not eroding the relationship I have with my family and not ruining the time, this precious time that we have together for a meal? Accepting these differences, I'm going to eat crab legs when I'm with other people or by myself, not with my family. Making this choice is not to give in, and it's not honoring myself, and simply to say, it's not a dishonoring of myself. It's simply to say, in this case, in this situation, I want to give intentional time and care to my relationships. I want that healthy relationship and harmony in the family meal more than I want to eat crab legs. The same can be true where there are other allergies. One of my friends is allergic to peanuts. It took me years to understand just how much fear is around this allergy, and rightfully so. to understand what can happen with allergies to food, where breathing is absolutely shut down or obstructed in some way, would naturally be frightening. It was not a funny matter to me for me to say things like, it's not that big of a deal to have peanuts in the house or peanuts in the car when they're with me because I wanted peanuts. They're a staple of my diet, or I wanted them available. It's hard for me to scientifically understand how someone can have a reaction if they're not eating the peanuts, that their reaction is simply if they're in the same house. They're still under some type of allergic effect. Even though I don't fully understand the fear or the allergic reaction, I choose the relationship. I choose the friendship over peanuts when I'm with this person. It's also about accepting differences between styles. Some people wake up all chatty Cathy in the morning, and others need space, some time and quiet, and a few cups of coffee. They're not interested into launching into a conversation on any topic. Over the years, I've learned to adapt to other people's styles. And hopefully I'm a little better at not forcing my way. I can allow them the space they need to have their coffee or have their silence so that they can come out into the world in their own time and in their own way, in their own routine, in their own schedule, without me demanding something of them. I accept our differences. Get a sense of what the consequences are to you when you find yourself not accepting that there are differences between you and others, especially the ones close to you. What does it create in your household or your workplace when you think people should be the same, should think the same, eat the same way, show up the same way, worship the same way, or have the same philosophies about life or jobs or money or politics? What are the consequences to you of not accepting that we have differences? What does denying differences cause in your own life? What would it be like to accept that we do have differences so that it's no longer a problem when we encounter differences? We would have less to be afraid of, and certainly less to make us reactive. What would it be like to accept differences with the people closest to you, the people you work with? What would it be like to know that just because we have differences, it doesn't mean that we really differ? What would it be like to realize that we represent the full spectrum of being human? And that within this spectrum, whatever's happening through me as me is always within the human phenomena. I'm always somewhere on the spectrum. They're somewhere on the spectrum, and the whole spectrum is included. Whatever they're thinking, whatever they're doing, is a representation of part of our own humanity. We can accept the fullness of that humanity, the wholeness of experiencing both beliefs, not, quote, one or the other. Less black and white. Or we can continue to be victim to and hostage to our wanting something to be one way while denying and fearing when it shows up another way. Accepting differences in other people absolutely requires me to grow myself up and allow the full spectrum of humans to be human beings as they are human beings, being human beings since the creation of time, and to quickly and powerfully awaken to our differences in a full spectrum. Over time, regardless of how similar we are or how close we are, even if we're raised in the same household or in the same family or the same profession, we're absolutely going to experience differences between us, each of us, and every other person on the planet eventually. And that's nothing to have to live. That's nothing to have to be so upset about anymore. Imagine. Blessings. MarthaCreek.com to contact me.